we have a special guest with us. We're going to talk about the recent issue of the ban on Kratom by the DEA. Lana, why don't you kind of introduce this to us
That's
a
right.
bit
We
here?
just learned that a fantastic plant known as Kratom, we always have it around, starting September 30th in the U.S. will be considered a Schedule 1 drug, according to the DEA. And the media, of course, has been peddling all kinds of disinfo about this plant, which Big Pharma has also had its eye on for some time because of its medicinal properties. So joining us is actually Paul Kemp. He's a botanicals, natural health writer, Kratom researcher, and chief information officer of the American Kratom Association. Welcome, Paul. Thanks for being here.
Be on, Wanda.
Well, for people who don't know, maybe you can give us a basic rundown of what is Kratom. It's not crack. People always think it's crack when you say Kratom.
Well, it's a leaf of a tree. It grows in the Malaysia, Indonesia area. It mainly comes out of Indonesia currently. People put all kinds of names on it, but mostly it's grown in Borneo or Indonesia, is one of the islands there. And it has, as you say, medicinal properties. It's been used for, I suspect, thousands of years, but we have 200 documented years of history since the Dutch came in and took the place as a colony. There are so many uses for it. It's both a stimulant at small doses, which is my main interest in it, and it's used for diabetes. And there is one lonely study that shows that it actually helps insulin do its function. It gets blood sugar into the cells for producing energy, which is exactly what is needed. And of course, Big Pharma is not interested in shutting off the gold mine there, so they drop that like a hot potato. It helps them with their MS. It helps with their, and these are all their testimonies. I'm not claiming anything. It seems credible. I've met people that have used it for 10 years, and they seem quite normal. I've been using it since I got up this morning. And there's no compulsion to do larger and larger doses, as there might be with something like cocaine or heroin, I suppose. I've never used that.
Yeah, it's just interesting because we know Big Pharma pills, just from bad reactions, kills over 100,000 people a year. Kratom has killed 0 people, right?
Well, yes, in truth. But the DEA doesn't limit themselves to that, and they love to say deaths associated with Kratom. I say Kratom most of the time because I'm on the West Coast, but it's the same stuff. The DEA fudges the facts, and they outright lie, or they find people that were schizophrenic to begin with. They went back to one study. They claim that it causes hallucinations. So they used a study from 1975 in Thailand where there were no blood tests taken. The people came in and they were messed up. I'm sure they were. But they also take methadone. They were field workers. So they're working under extreme conditions. They're probably not eating very well. And they're taking both heroin and methadone alternately when they can afford it. So they come in, they're out of their mind, and they say, okay, well, Kratom causes hallucinations because they were taking Kratom, and so it was associated. Same way with deaths. I've debunked 2 out of the 3 stories where they claim that it causes seizures. In fact, I've met people that are epileptic that haven't had a seizure since they started taking Kratom, and they used to have one a week. Science is crap. And I've gone through that. Of course, they don't read what I write.
I've talked to people who use it for, chronic pain, all sorts of pain, anxiety, depression, bipolar people, fibromyalgia, focus, arthritis. It has anti-cancer properties. And I've even talked to people who've gotten off of hard drugs and alcohol through Kratom. And we don't even drink. We don't even drink anymore. We just have some Kratom.
Absolutely. A lot of people, I wrote an article about that recently, that Kratom is becoming the new replacement, social lubricant. I put that up in Natural News. And yeah, it's true. I've stopped drinking because I drank for energy. I'm kind of pre-diabetic, I think. And I have a beer after work, and it worked for a half an hour, and then I was sleepier than before.
Or it's a depressant.
Yeah, you feel how depressive alcohol is when you get off of it in that way.
Yeah. And then I feel worse the next day, so gave it up.
So there's nothing then, just to kind of clarify that, because obviously there's so many medicinal purposes, usages for kratom. It helps, as you said, Lana, with anxiety and stress. There's a lot of people that we know actually that have started taking it because it just, it also is you're relaxed by it and these kinds of things. But how, I don't know how detailed you are in terms of the science of what actually happens in the brain, right? It kind of mimics an opiate, isn't that correct?
But it's not an opiate.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's not an opiate, not an opioid. It touches on the mu opiate receptor, basically. And so it gives some of the effects. It has so many alkaloids that some of them actually oppose the opiate effect. Not a good word to use for that, but it does have an effect. But so does cheese and chocolate and coffee. They all have an effect on our opiate.
Exercise, breast milk, I heard, babies.
Breast milk.
Yeah. Right. And chocolate, sex, all these things do the same thing in the brain.
Yeah, right.
So it would be like banning those things if they wanted to ban kratom.
Now, why do you think
get to them?
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Now, why do you think the DEA is working to ban it? It just seems like it's kind of come out of nowhere. There's been a lot of states that have been fighting it. People have been actively fighting it, educating their local politicians about what it really is. Now, why is the DEA sniffing around and wanting to put this in a category 1 as a drug?
The best thing that I can come up with, I've thought a lot about it, talked to a lot of people, is that Big Pharma is starting to feel the pinch. I mean, I've met people that have quit 24 prescription drugs, and now they take just Kratom. And, Big Pharma doesn't like competition. And, we are not playing by the rules that the Big Pharma helped the DEA and the FDA create. So they have written it down on paper that they have a right to do this. We don't believe they have a right in the AKA and many other people. It's a God-given right that people have the right to use plants for medicine. If it kills us, well, that's our problem.
That's right.
As long as I'm a libertarian and we're not hurting anybody, I'm not feeling like hurting anybody. So this preemptive action by the DEA, the only thing that makes sense is that Big Pharma is complaining and they're saying, why aren't you doing something about this?
Oh, yeah, there's big money behind it, huge lobbyists. Now, the question is, what can and what is being done to stop this? I've heard various things behind the scenes. What can you tell us?
The industry is pulling together, and they have chosen wisely, I think, the American Kratom Association to be the leader in a lawsuit. We are the plaintiff because the consumers have the sympathy of the average politician. And there are a lot of consumers out there that use Kratom, and they love it and they don't want it given up. They're freaking out. I think it makes a lot of sense for us to represent them. I don't know how much I want to say, and we're very early in the process, but we've had a couple of meetings with the American Herbal Products Association, who is facilitating this, and we are members of theirs. And, the industry's coming together and they are doing fundraising. We are doing fundraising to put together the money to hire the best. Experienced DEA lawyers, and possibly we will get into the public relations, political affairs type consultants and lobbyists.
I also heard that the DEA has been overwhelmed with responses from Kratom users actually calling and saying, hey, this is what I use it for. This isn't a drug. Please don't take this away from us. And so maybe they're second guessing things, maybe.
I hope so. They really should. I don't put a whole lot of faith in that because, some people came away from their conversation and saying that, oh, the guy was so nice and he was shocked that this is helping people. It's not just a bunch of addicts, claiming that we're going to take their favorite drug of choice away. It's not a drug. If I've got access to marijuana about a block away. We have 3 dispensaries in this town of 2,000 people. That's, I don't want to get high.
Yeah.
Been there, done that. It's got its place. And Kratom is not that. Kratom is pain relief and anxiety relief, PTSD for soldiers. It's all that, but it doesn't have the head effects where you can't work, you can't drive, you can't take care of your children or get out of bed. So it's a miracle.
So that would obviously be the incentive and the reason for why the big pharma basically wants to go after this herb, because it's, well, to a certain extent, it's a miracle plant, to a certain extent. Now let's just briefly talk here, Paul, about what we can do about this, though, because they're seeking to ban this as early as September 30th, I believe, which is this rush. It came out of it didn't come out of the blue because they've been working on this for a long time. But there is a petition. Is that one of the best things people can do right now, and call, or what should they do? A petition's good. Yeah, we should max that out. I haven't signed it yet, but I will. Looks like we're halfway through there as of this recording. It's about 100,000 goal, and it's over 51,000 signed right now. So that's good.
Excellent.
Let's get more.
Yeah. The main thing right now, the AKA just put out a action alert telling people exactly what to do. And I've only glanced at it. I know basically what it is. Where we've had our most success is rallying the average person, giving them a letter template and telling them a little bit about how to tell their story effectively and the language to use. We don't consider this a drug. It's not a single item thing like cocaine, which came from a leaf also, where, it's a very hard hitting effect. So there's a language to use and all, and that's all up on our AKA website as well as our AKA Facebook pages. We just make it easy for people to tell their story. They shouldn't try to be scientists unless they really are scientists, or quote the science. Just tell their emotional story. And our hope is that we will find 1, 2, or 3, any number of champions in the Senate or the House, and have them write a letter to the DEA, which they can do, and say, what's up? Why are you doing this? We want you to show us, why you are taking this outrageous step. Because, we're hearing this is helping a lot of people. Why are you stopping it?
Yeah, well, I urge everyone to go sign the petition, write your local politicians, check out AmericanKratom.org. And Paul, I want to thank you for all your writing that you're doing and that you're teaming up with other people and that there are people actively out there fighting back. So thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks very much for having me on, Lana and Henrik. Have a great day.
Yeah, you too. Thanks so much for joining us.